Hi everybody, I'm Butch Stearns of the Pulse Network at thepulsenetwork.com here at the Activate Network Summit 2012, and I'm joined by one of our morning keynotes, Rob Cross. Rob, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Professor at the University of Virginia,
right.
Author,
right.
Speaker. Do I need to go on?
No, that's good. Yeah.
Nice to meet you, my friend.
Yeah, you as well.
Let's talk about what you were talking about up on stage and talk about some of the things that you're passionate about. When it comes to businesses and organizations tapping into the relationships and their networks, how do you analyze that as a business? How do you get started to think about that? Is it a mindset?
I think it's actually a very specific set of analytic tools you can use. You can use survey-based approaches. In some instances, we may be looking at email traffic, but usually it's a pretty simple 10, 15-minute web-based survey that we're administering. And the reason that's important to me is you're not just trying to promote more people talking. We're already way overloaded with collaborative demands today. And so I'm trying to understand where, for example, are people interacting in ways that produce revenue together. So you get actually value-added collaborations and being able to see where those are happening. Or I'm trying to understand negative consequences, for example, the people that are actually taking too much time, and you can streamline efficiencies in the network. So for me, it's a really valuable X-ray or MRI that most leaders don't have. Most leaders are making decisions off the formal structure, which oftentimes is somewhat accurate, but then missing a lot of different pockets of performance improvement.
So as companies start to analyze the social networks of their employees, what do they normally find? What surprises them?
Well, they will always look down universally. If I ask a leader to do one of these assessments and I come back to them, you universally see their eyes furtively dancing around. They want to be dead center, right? They want to be the most popular guy or
they're
gal
numbers
in the
people.
room.
They want numbers.
Right.
Tell me what this translates into.
Exactly, kind of hoping that more centrality is better. So the big surprise a lot of times is the degree to which over-connectivity is hurting the organization. Because we're all trained right now to think that collaboration is a great thing, right? You hear that word and people say, I want more of it. And so that means tools, meetings, new structures. And so I think that seeing the costs of excessive collaboration and how to quantify that and drive it down is a big aha for these places.
Let me stop you for a second. You just said something interesting that I'd like a little more clarity on. Over-connectivity within your organization. What does that mean?
Way too many collaborations for getting seemingly simple things done. So companies that move from a functional to a matrix-based structure, a lot of times you find that they have to do formally tremendous numbers of approvals and then all sorts of other people that they need to be interacting with and checking with. And oftentimes the interactions themselves consume way too much time. It overloads and hurts the organization from a performance standpoint.
So I'd imagine this is different for any organization or different organizations, but as a solution to that, as a way to be more efficient, to be more decisive with your senior management on down?
Absolutely. One of the things that we'll focus on are decision-making interactions in these networks, and we can start to see not just where our routine decisions making it too high, but where are certain leaders not executing the way they need to, and that cascades down and has effects into the thousands, tens of thousands.
Again, as you work with companies, as you speak at events, you mentioned up there, I believe, or I read in your book, that networks are underappreciated. What does that mean?
I think most people intuitively know at an individual level that you're distinguished by who you know. In part, it's how good you are, but your network always has an effect on the way you get to be promoted or other things. What they've never been able to do before is see that, right? It's almost like the Wizard of Oz. There's stuff happening behind the curtain, but we don't have a sense of what that network looks like or how are they really getting advantage, in the organization. Now we have the tools to be able to show, what goodness looks like, help people think about to what degree at an individual level am I doing what the high performers are doing from a network standpoint, where am I falling into traps, things like that. Same thing on the company side. Intuitively people know that collaboration matters, but until you can see it analytically and take action on it, you're kind of shooting blindly.
So there really is a balance, if I'm hearing you right, of how much collaboration, communication, connectivity you want within an organization before you make a decision. You don't want too much because then you're inefficient.
Right.
But there needs to be enough because otherwise you're not tapping into your networks.
Not getting
correct?
things done, right. So, a lot of times I'll get in front of audiences and I'll, senior levels, I'll say, give me a % of time in the typical week that you spend on the following 3 activities, and we'll go down and say on the phone, on email, and in meetings. And almost universally, these leaders will say it's at least 95% of their time they're spending in collaboration. So that's to a point that's excessive, right? They don't have enough time to individually think, to execute, to think about strategy. But you obviously don't want that number to be 0 either. And
Let's
so
talk about your
spot.
book, Driving Results Through Social Networks. There it is right there, Pat. Fascinating read. I just started reading it while you were up there talking.
All right.
I can multitask.
Good
like
deal.
That. I was listening to you and I was reading. What do you hope people get out of this book if they haven't read it?
I think it shows how to assess these networks in ways that have impact on the organization. So again, rather than assuming that more collaboration is better, it shows how leaders at either a full organizational level or an individual level have the ability to be much more intentional about how they invest and get returns on collaboration.
I love the title because it's driving results that speaks right to the age-old business through social networks. I mean, everybody knows. You know, it sort of goes to when Facebook started and people at work would be hiding looking at their Facebook page. It can be a good thing that you're on your Facebook page and checking your networks while you're at work. And companies that are proactive can actually tap into that, correct?
Right, and actually start to realize the benefits of that in different ways, in unique ways, so yeah.
Last question, Rob. This conference, Activate Network Summit. What do you like about this conference? What did you get out of it today so far?
I love the interdisciplinary nature. You have an emerging topic in networks that is saying there's a science here that we can apply to improve how we go sell, how we run our companies, a range of things like that have big impact. But you have a lot of different people coming at it, from medical people to physicians to physicists to a range of different expertise on an academic side and on a company side. And so I think it really holds a very unique event, in my experience, in the world to bring that kind of perspective together to think about how we build the organization of the future.
Nice job up there on stage.
All
nice
right.
to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Rob Cross, author, University of Virginia professor and morning keynote here at the Activate Network Summit 2012.